You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're after dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? It is the Wyatt Williams, and we have a very, very great show planned out for you today. It will be Wyatt Williams and Tori here with you. Buck and Combs are chumps. They aren't spending any time with us anymore. They personally said that they just didn't like Tori. No, I'm just kidding. But for today, I want to remind everyone, be sure to like and subscribe on this. We appreciate it greatly, as well as check out manhourradio.com. And following that, you can also sign up for our membership, $9.99 a month on YouTube, and you get a sweatshirt once a year. And with that being said, the Wisconsinite himself, Mr. Tori Anderson. How are you, sir?
Why would you say that? Why would you hurt my feelings right away when the show starts, Wyatt? I have feelings too. I'm not just a piece of meat.
Right.
It's really hard to say that with a straight face.
Exactly. No, hey, speaking of piece of meat, isn't it crazy? I saw something on Instagram the other day that we are all slabs of meat controlled by a brain.
Yes.
That is insane. Like, I heard that and I was like, wow. Like, we are all just slabs of meat and bone that are controlled by a control center up here in your head. Like, that is just crazy to me.
All animals are.
Well, everything is. I know it's crazy, though. But, hey, speaking
Not
of...
everything. Not amoebas. Amoebas don't have a skeleton.
But crazy conspiracy theories, we'll get into that here in just a second with our question of the day. And that is 2 food groups that everybody likes to argue about because of how many different forms you can eat them with. Eggs and wings. Okay, the big argument with eggs, of course, do you like them scrambled, over easy, sunny side up, in a basket? How do you like your eggs? And then with wings, it's bone in or boneless. So, Tori, sir, I'm going to ask you with eggs first. How do you like your eggs?
It depends on the day of the week for me. Because am I having bacon and eggs? Then chances are I'm probably going to have a fried egg fried in the bacon grease. So, because it just,
good.
Yeah, I mean, if you have never done it, that's the way you got to do it. So, but if I'm feeling like, maybe I'll make a breakfast burrito, I'll fry my bacon, and then, and people will call me weird for this, but I will make my scrambled eggs in the microwave.
How?
So you just take your eggs, put them in there, you throw a little milk in there, throw a little butter in there, you throw it in the mic for a minute, take it, stir it up, then you throw a little salt and pepper in with there, and then you throw it in for another minute, take it out, and they start to fluffen up. You beat them again, and then you do it another minute, and chances are, usually after about 3 minutes, they're completely done. And they're fluffy. They're like light, fluffy, scrambled eggs.
That is crazy. I've never heard of that.
When I come down there, I will make you microwave scrambled eggs, and you'll be like, these are the best scrambled eggs. I will put them up against Gordon Ramsay's scrambled eggs, and I will say they're better.
And that is his claim to fame.
That is his claim to, yeah. The thing is you can't burn these. They come out super fluffy. They come out super light. Like, it's almost impossible to screw this up.
I have never heard that before, but hey, it sounds good. I personally like my eggs over easy in a basket. That, like, you go to Cracker Barrel, get
what
eggs
are you talking about in a basket?
over easy.
I don't know what. I can't do yolk. Nope, no yolk.
Incredible,
I will puke.
incredible. Well, you can get it scrambled in a basket too, but it's not going to be as good. So in a basket means like it's a piece of bread, right? They cut a hole in the center of the bread, and then they cook it and make it toast with an egg in the middle of the toast. It is incredible, and you have to try it before you die, Tori. It is like a must. They have Cracker Barrels in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, I just actively try to avoid them. I don't like everybody raves about their breakfast food. I don't like it. Like, I've been there for breakfast.
What? That's the
this
only
is not
thing I
good.
like at Cracker Barrel. I cannot stand going to Cracker Barrel for anything other than breakfast. Like, I just like, this is going to sound so mean when I say this, but like, when I'm in there, I feel like I can't relate to anyone. Like, everybody in there is 900 years old. Every person in there. And I'm just like, hey, how you doing? You're like, I'll talk to him, be nice, talk and all that stuff. But I just can't relate with any of them because they've lived 90 years of life and I've lived a short 18. Like, I mean, I can sit there and have a conversation with them, but like, I don't know. I just get uncomfortable when I go into Cracker Barrel because everybody is not just, everybody in there could be my grandparents' parents.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like,
just another reason to actively avoid going to any of them.
Exactly.
So, because we kind of joked. So when we were on the road, we were at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. And
Misery.
And like the two finest dining establishments around us were Ruby Tuesday and Cracker Barrel. Like, that was our picks. Like, it was bad.
It's funny you mentioned that. I've got a similar story. I went to Morehead State to call that softball game for ESPN a couple weeks ago. And in Morehead, Kentucky, I don't know if you've ever been there, there is 3 sit-down restaurants. 3. There is B-Dubs, of course, right? Because it's college town. You gotta have that. There is a Cracker Barrel, of course. It's the middle of Kentucky. There's going to be a Cracker Barrel at every town. And then there's this place called Reno's, which is where we went for dinner. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a steakhouse, kind of. If I had to explain it, it's weird. It's like, it would be like a cross between a Texas Roadhouse and a Tumbleweed. Like, it's kind of like, there's a little.
Does Tumbleweed exist anymore?
Yeah, there's Tumbleweeds exist. Yeah, there's Tumbleweeds here.
Now, there used to be a couple of them here, and they've been gone for years.
Yeah, there's 2 in my area. There's one in Jeff, and there's one in. Actually, there's 3. There's one in New Albany. There's one in Jeff, and there's one in at Highlander Point here. Yeah, we got 3 in our area. Maybe a 4 that I'm.
But we have internet and electricity where I live too. So,
well, that's also true. So we here in Indiana struggle with that issue of internet. That is why our pre-show meeting we had a little cutout because, of course, my Walmart Spectrum internet is pooping out on me. But hey, we've talked eggs. Now we're going to talk wings. This is the big one here. Okay, I went with eggs first because it's not as intense, but this one is intense. Okay, bone in or boneless.
See, it depends. So now, if it's all flats, I'm in for bone in, but I don't like drummies. So if there's drummies in there, I'm going to go boneless. So for me, it's
you like the one with the 2 bones?
Yeah.
No,
those
that's
are
the
called
worst
flats.
one. The drums are way better.
No, see, and I don't like drummies. So
what?
Nope. I am flats, and if and I'll always ask, is it all flats or is that and drummies? And they said. If they say, nope, it's all flats, yeah, I'll take those. If they say, nope, there's drummies, I'll tell them, give me boneless.
See, I like boneless way more because of 2 reasons. First off.
Less messy.
Yes, first off, less messy. That's number 1. Read my mind on that one. And second off, you get more meat whenever it's boneless.
I would agree with that.
You definitely get more meat. So you get more, and it's cheaper always. So you get more bang for your buck. I hate when people are like, oh, I don't get boneless wings. I don't want to pay for expensive chicken nuggets. It's not chicken nuggets, okay? It is delicious, and you get more chicken for a lower price. So actually, I'm saving money and filling my belly more.
See, I can agree with that, and I can see that as well.
And I'm less messy. I can eat them with a fork.
For me, it's comes down to if I'm going to get spicy. Like if I'm just going to go right to the top of the scale, like I like to do, give me boneless because that way there's less chance of me getting it on my fingers and accidentally touching my eyes. So,
you've done that? Like touched your eyes? Well,
I make a dip with ghost pepper, and it's a powder, and I didn't realize I had a little bit on my fingers, and I went like this to my eye, and I immediately went into pain for about the next 25 minutes.
Oh my God. I can't even okay, I am terrible with spicy stuff. Like, I legitimately cannot even eat jalapenos. Like jalapeno, I can eat them if there's something else. Like if I get nachos and there's jalapenos on it, like I'll get a little risky and like put a jalapeno on my nacho and eat the whole thing, right? And I'm fine.
Yeah, but those are
But if
usually
I-
like pickled and tamed down. Then that's not really a jalapeno.
Oh, well, they're definitely tamed down, and I am perfectly fine with them being tamed down because I would probably cry if they weren't tamed down. Okay, and it's so weird because like my aunt, her name's Inok. She's from Korea. So, excuse me. By the way, for everybody, I'm losing my voice because I had prom after prom and after prom last night. So I do apologize for that. But my aunt is from Korea. So she legitimately eats ghost peppers like it is candy.
Oh yeah, I've
Like,
seen people do that.
She'll like open the box and like my eyes start watering and like I can't even be near her while she's doing it. And like she'll just start eating them. I'm like, how do you do this? How are you doing this right now? It's crazy to me. I don't know how. I mean, what is the hottest pepper you can eat?
It's a scorpion. It's a Carolina Reaper hybrid with something else, and it's called the Scorpion, and it's the hottest one because the ghost pepper I believe is the third or fourth hottest pepper. No,
So if you ate the hottest pepper on earth,
I've had Carolina Reaper before.
is that the
I've
hottest?
had-
I don't. I know there's like a Scoville units thing, but like
Yeah,
I don't know
so-
where everybody ranks on it. I know ghost peppers are super
yeah.
hot though.
The hot sauce that I use on my eggs is called garlic Carolina, or it's called garlic Reaper sauce. So it's got garlic and Carolina Reaper in it, and it's about 150 to 200,000 on the Scoville scale. And when you get to the hottest stuff, it's about 2.5 million on the Scoville scale. So that last dab, like with the bet with Brandon and I, is the 2.5 million one.
Wow. And that's on Jameis Winston, right?
That's on the Jameis Winston thing. I already said he's already going to be off to a bad start playing Green Bay in Week 1. So,
Hey, I hope so. And speaking of, we'll get to Green Bay later on. I'm starting to feel a little more optimistic about the return of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to lie to you. Every day, I feel just an inch more. Every day is a little more optimistic. That
what
Aaron
have
Rodgers.
What have I
stay.
been telling you from the start?
What?
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I have been saying that since the end of the season. Do you know who I actually think is up to like doing most of this? Brett Favre.
Brett's
know why?
an idiot.
You know why?
Because he's from Mississippi and a moron.
Yeah, well, that's part. 2 reasons. First off, he hates the Green Bay Packers because of how that everything went down.
He does not know. Because if you like his retirement thing when they had it in Green Bay, the thing is, and this is what I'll tell you the reason why he does not hate Green Bay. He hates Green Bay's management at the time.
Yes.
He does not hate the people and the team of Green Bay because of the relationship that he had with Bart Starr. Like,
Okay. He hates certain people in the Packers organization.
Cherry Starr saved that whole relationship. Bart's wife.
I'll rephrase it then. Then he hates certain people that are in the organization, and he will do anything to get back at them. That is.
But the thing is, it was all his fault.
Well, I'm not saying it wasn't, but I'm just saying he has ill will feelings towards certain people. And second, who does he have ill will feelings toward that he's hiding? I'm telling you, he's hiding it. Aaron Rodgers. He's got ill will feelings toward Aaron Rodgers because he took his spot. Now, I can hear all these stories about how they're friends now. I saw the whole ESPY award thing where they shook hands and it was all over, all that stuff. No, it ain't over. And he will do anything to make sure that Aaron Rodgers is not a better quarterback in Green Bay than he is by winning 2 Super Bowls because Aaron Rodgers is set to win another Super Bowl before he retires. So he's going to make sure that Aaron finishes with 1 and he gets back at the Packers. That is why Brett Favre has been so hard after we've seen him so much in the media. And it's funny because Brett was never talking before Jordan Love was selected by the Packers. Aaron and Brett were never super tight. I mean, they were decently close after everything. They kind of came together and set their differences aside and all that stuff. But they were never as close as they seem to be now as Brett's making it out to be. Like, they're having phone calls every day and stuff. So, I don't know. The whole situation is just fishy to me. It's just odd to me.
I don't know. Just because there's other factors into this. I don't think Favre. I think Favre's got a jealous streak in there? Probably. Absolutely, there could be. Because as soon as Aaron wins one more Super Bowl, I guarantee he roots against Green Bay ever winning another Super Bowl with Aaron at the helm. Because Aaron, because then he would already surpass Brett, but he's already surpassed Brett. He's won one Super Bowl, and he's got the 3 MVPs to match Favre. But the one thing Favre never had was a Super Bowl MVP, which Aaron has.
Yeah. No, and I think he's surpassed Favre as well. But those 2 Super Bowls would definitely surpass it, and it would show. But with that being said, we have got some awesome stuff coming up for you. The NBA playoffs and the NBA Hall of Fame and all that stuff, it just happened, and the playoffs are just around the corner. We're going to talk some of that when we get back from this break. You're listening to Man Hour. And welcome back. It is at manhour_TWW, the Wyatt Williams, and at manhour_Tori, the Wisconsinite. So I mentioned it right before we went to break. We are going to be talking some NBA coming up in just a second. But before I get to that, I also want to mention, hey, be sure to check out manhourradio.com, which is our website, as well as our YouTube membership, which is $9.99 a month. You get a free hoodie once a year from that. And so
all the way down to 99. All the way down to 99 cents. You can
exactly. Go. So we've already talked some eggs, wings, and now we are here to get into. I misspoke on this. I told everybody we're getting into some NBA. I'm foreshadowing. We are not getting an NBA. We are talking Guess for a second. I read my own script that I wrote incorrectly. So we are going to be talking some Guess Who. So the way we normally do Guess Who, for everybody who knows, of course, we have 3 people. One person has a person in mind. It has to be a current player, NBA, MLB, or NFL. And it has to be, they go back and forth one-on-one, yes or no questions. But since we've only got 2, we're improvising today. And we are doing something different and something more awesome than that. So basically, we will alternate back and forth, and we will ask questions while the other person has a player in their head, and you get 10 questions, and then you have to make a guess after your 10th question. And if you get it right, you get it right. You get it wrong, you lose. Pretty simple. You ready, Tori?
I'm ready.
All right, so you are going first. I have the player in my head. Go ahead, sir.
Do they play in the NBA?
No.
Do they play in the NFL?
Yes.
Do they play in the AFC?
No.
Do they play in the NFC East?
Yes.
Do they play offense?
Yes.
This is tough because you only get 10 guesses.
I know.
I'm already at 5.
I know.
Do they play quarterback?
Yes. That's 6.
Is it Jalen Hurts?
No.
Is it Fitzmagic?
No.
We already
2
did
questions
Danny
left.
Dimes, though. I know.
So you got 2 questions left, and then you get a final, and then you have to give your final answer. So.
Is it Dak?
No. 1 question left, then you got to give your final
Is it
answer.
Danny Dimes?
Nope. All right, final answer. Who is it?
I'm trying to think. I can't think of the kid's name. The other kid in Washington.
What's his name?
Bleh. Why am I blanking on his name right now? I gotta look. I know his name. Oh well, I should say.
Think beer.
I should say. Think beer. What about Scotch? I think Scotch.
His last name is close to a beer.
Well, you can't give me
Budweiser,
hints,
no.
Wyatt.
Budweiser. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Budweiser.
Taylor Henneke.
Heineke. There you go.
Hey,
He's close to
Heineke.
Heineken. So that's kind of what I was thinking. But anyways, Tori gets the first one right on the final question too. There you go. Are you ready, sir, for mine?
I am. I'm gonna go easy on you. I think
You're gonna go easy on me.
I think so.
Well, that's good. Hopefully, you didn't go with baseball then. Okay.
No.
Okay, so then let's see here. My first question for you will be. So it's either basketball or football. I know that. So I'm going to take a swing jab at this. Do they play in the AFC?
No.
Do they play in the NFC?
Yes.
Okay. See, now I feel like I wasted a question there. I was hoping you... No. Okay, so that's 2 questions. So, do they play in the NFC? Do they play in the NFC North or East?
Yes. I had to think for a sec.
Okay, so that narrows it down. Do they play in the NFC North?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. How many questions is that? 5, right? 4?
Oh.
Foe. All right, foe. Do they play offense?
Yes.
Okay. Do they play running back?
No.
Quarterback?
No.
Wide receiver?
No.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Oh, no. Tight end?
No. That's 9.
That's not good. That is not good. And they play, let's see here. So they play offense, and they play for an NFC North team, and it's not a okay. So it's a lineman, and it's David Bakhtiari.
That's number 10. That is a no.
It's a no. Okay. So
final answer.
Final answer here. I've got to give a name. And that name of an offensive lineman in the NFC North Wait, does kicker count as offense?
They would, but I would say that would be special teams. So
Okay,
I would
okay.
say I would actually probably say
I know
no to
because
that.
it's different. Like sometimes they count as offense, sometimes they're special teams. They're a weird. Okay, but so it's an offensive lineman and it's in the NFC North. It's not David Bakhtiari. So with that being said, I should have asked if they were a Packer. That really could have narrowed it down. All right, wild guess swing at this. Gosh, this is tough. I've got a couple of people in mind, but I know I'm gonna whiff on this. So here we go. Is it Panay Sewell?
It is not.
Oh man, who is it?
I gave you a hint. I foreshadowed that I was going easy on you, so you were on the right track on the Packer line.
Oh, great.
So it was Eldeston Jenkins.
Delvin Jenkins. Oh my gosh.
Because the two linemen you're gonna name is Bakhtiari and him.
Yeah. Well, I thought it would have been. Whenever you said you were going easy, I thought it for sure it would have been D-Bach. But then I thought to myself, I was like, I don't know. After you said no to that, and I was either going to go with Jenkins or no, it is only Jenkins actually. Maybe Myers out of Ohio State. I possibly
because Lindsley's gone.
Yeah, Lindsley's gone. Taylor's gone.
Lane Taylor's gone.
Bulaga's gone for 2 years. So
they cut Ricky Wagner, but Billy Turner will probably still play right tackle again this year. But
all right, your next player. You ready, sir?
Yes.
All right. Give me a second, and I have got it. I got it. This is a good one.
Do they play basketball?
Yes.
Did they play in the Eastern Conference?
No.
Are they in the playoffs?
Yes. Is that 4 or 3?
That's 4.
It's 4, okay.
Are they a top 4 seed in the Western Conference?
Let me look it up because I think they're close. I think they're somewhere in the vicinity.
Well, let me know what seed they are then.
Exactly. What seed did you say?
I said, are they a 1 through 4 seed in the Western Conference?
No, they are not. That's 5, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Are they one of the play-in teams?
No. 6.
Is it Dame?
No.
Is it CJ McCollum?
No.
Is it Luka?
No.
So this is my last one before I got to give a final answer.
Yep.
Is it Porzingis?
Yes, it is. That's a good guess right there. That was good. God.
Well, who else was I going to
do that?
Because I broke down who I knew on the Mavs.
I thought for sure there for a second. Whenever I thought of him, I was like, "There's no way he's gonna."
Well, but you got to figure. At 6 questions, I had eliminated the 1 through 4 seeds and the 7 through 10. So I had 5 and 6. So I had the Mavericks in the Trailblazers. So that's why I went Dame, CJ, Luka, and then Porzingis.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Your time
Deduction.
Again. Here we go. Huh?
The art of deduction, my friend.
Art of deduction. You do good with deduction. I will give you that, sir.
So I got to think here. Do I be super mean now? No.
Please don't.
You can't. I can't be super mean about it. Okay, I got him.
All right. So, do they play in the Western Conference?
No.
Okay.
You didn't even ask what sport they were.
I know, because you already did football, and I figured you wouldn't do baseball. So they play in the Eastern Conference, and Are they a guard?
No.
Are they a forward?
No.
Okay, so they're a center in the Eastern Conference. Are they a 1 through 4 seed?
No, they are not.
No. Are they in the playoffs?
Yes, they are in the playoffs.
Okay. So they are. Are they in the
That's
playing
6.
games?
No.
Okay, so they are.
That's 7.
So there, it's Hawks and Heat, and it's Bam Adebayo.
No. That's 8.
Huh. Do they play for the Hawks or the Heat?
Yes.
Okay. I was just making sure I was
That's
on the right
9.
track here. Okay, I was just making sure I was on the right track here. Gosh. Is it Clint Capella, right?
No.
Oh, shoot.
Final guess.
This is tough. See, and it wasn't Bam. Gosh, it isn't Bam. I think there's only one option here.
There's actually 2.
There's 2? Okay, so that means it's either John Collins or it's... Who'd be the other option? I already said Clint. Is it... Let's see. This is tough. Or it's... All right, screw it. We're going for it. It's John Collins.
It is John Collins.
Yes, let's go. All right. So we both... No, you close off with 2. I close off with 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So with that being said, we will head to our break. Now when we come back, we just warmed you up there with some NBA. Guess who? We had a little NFL in there, of course, but there we ended with NBA. So we will now head to our best break that I have ever seen in my entire life. Be sure to sit back and enjoy this because I thoroughly enjoyed this pre-show, and you will too. So we'll see you back in 2 minutes after you laugh your you-know-what off from this.
ManHourRadio.com.
And there you go with the
I was like, did you break it?
Yeah, I clicked off of it. It just stayed there like that for a while, so I clicked off of it, but nonetheless, we're back. After I'm sorry I made you stare at a blank screen for 30 seconds with no sound. I thought that I'm waiting. Me and Tori are both backseats. I can see him at the bottom of the screen going. I'm like kind of doing the same thing, waiting. Like, is it gonna shut off? Like, I'm waiting for it to just do that so we can come right back. But here we are, nonetheless, and we've got some NBA to talk about here. And with that being said, we just had the NBA Hall of Fame inductings and all that stuff. So we'll start off with that. We'll get into the playoffs here in just a minute. But, Tori, did you have any problem with this list of Hall of Famers? Was there anyone you think should have deserved to be in more over anyone that got in? Or if nobody, why?
No, I think they got this list pretty right. I mean, every person that got in was well-deserving. The one thing, though, like, you read more and more about it, like, the Hall lets a ton of people in. Like, Bill Russell obviously was in the Hall of Fame as a player. He's now in as a coach as well. Bob Dandridge was elected to the Hall for veteran committee, and there's like a veteran committee for the WNBA. There's, committees for, like, Tony Kukoc was inducted.
Made it.
Kukoc made it for, like, the European board but he was one of the first European players to come over here though and be dominant. So, he was on like the European player board, and that's why it's called the Basketball Hall of Fame and not the NBA Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's why it is the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame and not the NBA Hall of Fame, because it sets itself apart. Because also, if you looked on there, you got Jay Wright, a college coach
from
currently
Villanova. Yep.
He got in. There's a lot of people who got in that, who are college. Two WNBA players got in. So you are correct. It is not just the NBA. It is the NBA, college basketball. Is the Naismith. Of course, talking about Naismith, the founder of basketball, back whenever they played with peaches and baskets, which that would be a little tough to call, Tori. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I've called a lot of basketball games in my short career of broadcasting, and I don't think it would be fun to call a peaches and baskets basketball game. I'm just not about that, You know what I do? You know what I do like? You know what I do like that I wish we could bring back is after every single play, they used to throw it up in the air and have them just re-tip off. If you had two big centers, like for an entire game, just go at it like that, that would be so cool to me to watch that happen. I don't even know why. To watch two 7-footers who jump the exact same go at it, like that would be a huge part of the game too, because if you could score. And say you're down by 4 points, if you could score, make it a 2-point game, instead of having to foul, win the tip. Then you don't have to foul, and then win the tip, grab the ball. I mean, I kind of like the idea, if we're going to be honest. I think that would be cool to watch, especially, like I said, especially if you had like two really good centers just duking it out the whole game. That would be cool to me. But we're not talking about that. We are currently talking about basketball, other than why it's crazy ideas that we should bring back. Is there anybody you think on the list that shouldn't be in? And not anybody to replace them, but anybody that shouldn't be in?
The closest one I would say would be Ben Wallace. The guy was 4-time Defensive Player of the Year and All-Star, but like he's not the household name guy that you would think of when you think of Hall of Fame players. And I'm not knocking him because the guy was one of the best defenders the NBA has ever seen. The guy was phenomenal. Him and Rasheed Wallace on the same team is the sole reason that Pistons team won a title. But yeah, if I'm going to have to say anybody, he'd be the closest one, and he still deserves to be in that hall.
Yeah, no, I didn't really have a problem with anybody. Like you kind of went there with, if I had to pick somebody that I maybe had a problem, which I didn't have a problem with. If I had to pick someone, though, I think mine would probably be Tony Kukoc, only because I think he was way overhyped throughout his career. Just because, he was supposed to be the guy that took over for Jordan, and of course Michael Jordan said, "Oh, nay, nay," and that never happened, of course. So Tony Kukoc wasn't as great as he was supposed to be because of that. But Still had a good career, like you said, one of the first foreign players to come over here and play and have a good spot in the league and be a good player. So I will give him that. But if I had any problem with anybody, I guess it would be him, but not really. I kind of agree with the list. I was fine with it. But now as we move into NBA playoffs, which are just around the corner, we saw the Warriors clinch the 8th seed today, and the Grizzlies, of course, falling back to 9 as they competed for the 8th and the 9th spot. I believe the Lakers are locked in at 7, right? I don't think they can go down, right?
Nope, so they are locked in at 7. They are playing the play-in game, my friend.
That is crazy. I never would have thought.
That is great.
Oh, it's awesome. I like it, but I never would have thought that in my lifetime we would see a play-in game. Let me ask you this, Tori. If 2 years ago, I looked at you and I was like, hey, you know that LeBron James guy? And you know that Steph Curry guy? You know, they will be playing in a play-in tournament to try and get into the playoffs. And if I would have said that, I can just tell you that I would have smacked myself in the face. I'd have never believed it. Because these are the two guys who went to the finals over and over and over and over again versus each other. I mean, these are the guys who dominated the league for a 4-5 year stretch. LeBron, of course, longer than that, but these two consecutively, 4 or 5 year stretch. And it's just like now all of a sudden they've, and Steph Curry is incredible to me because of this, because he has got nobody right now on his team. And he is still without Clay, with all the injuries surrounding the team, still keeping his team relevant. And of course, he's still got Draymond and Kelly Oubre is all right, but it's not Clay. It's not the Splash Bros. The Warriors aren't anywhere close to what they are if Clay's on.
James Wiseman has been a complete flop there.
Yeah, he is not. He really hasn't done anything since he's been there either, which is, kind of par with what he did at Memphis. Absolutely nothing.
That's because he played like 3 games and got hurt.
Yeah. Well, he also got busted for getting paid too. Yeah. Penny Hardaway got busted with all that stuff, but with the NBA Finals getting so close, your sleepers coming into the playoffs. Of course, we'll have the play-in tournament, all that stuff. But your sleepers in both conferences, who would you say?
I would. My Milwaukee Bucks are a 3 seed, and honestly, they're about as close to a sleeper team because everybody just basically expects them to get bounced, and I'll be right there with them. And like they draw the Heat in the first round again this year. And we know what happened last year. The Heat bounced them in the second round last year. Yep. So I think if they can get past that first round, they got a good chance. I am not overly impressed by Philadelphia. I'm not over impressed by anybody else. I'm not over impressed by the Nets even. The Bucks handled them pretty well the last couple times they played them. So I'm not. The East is wide open, so for me, I would say the Bucks right now are probably the sleeper, just because of their past playoff failings that they've had.
Yeah, no, I would say I agree with you. I think the Bucks are being slept on big time, but the biggest sleeper that I have right now at this point, and it's ironic because you wouldn't think they'd be a sleeper, is the Lakers. I mean, they are going to have a tough road to get in, and honestly, I don't think they'll beat the Warriors. I think they'll come as an 8 seed. I really do. I would. Now, of course, all that will change, of course, as time goes on and we get closer to the playoffs. But as of right now, with the way both teams are playing, I think the Warriors are a better team right now. I'm not going to lie to you. So I think the Warriors win that first game, and then I think that the Lakers enter in as an 8 seed after they beat the Spurs or the Grizzlies. That doesn't matter. It's going to be Lakers and Warriors entering the playoffs. That I don't care about it. What other teams are on 9 and 10? The whoever loses in the first game will beat the 9 or 10, whoever's there. But I think it's funny how dangerous that the 7 and 8 seed are going to be. So those are going to be my sleepers, the Lakers and the Warriors, because I think this year we could potentially see a 1 and a 2 seed get knocked out right at the start. I absolutely think we could see it, because of how great that Steph Curry is playing and how great that LeBron James plays in the playoffs. And Anthony Davis is really kind of starting to come back and all that stuff. Of course, he's had the injuries, which he's dealt with his entire career. That's my biggest knock on Anthony Davis, is how brittle that he is. But if he can stay healthy, at least through the playoffs, the Lakers are going to have a shot at this. They're just that good of a team. So ironically, it's crazy that I'm saying this, but the two teams that were projected to be top 3 teams this year are playing in a play-in tournament. And, they're playing in a play-in tournament and trying to fight their way back into the playoffs, which is, like I said, crazy. I never would have thought in a million years I would have said that, but here we are in the crazy world we live in. But now we move on. We've talked about sleepers. The most overrated team heading into the playoffs, who is it?
I'm going to stick with my Milwaukee Bucks. Are still the most, even at a 3 seed, they're the most overrated team in the playoffs. I literally could see them getting bounced in the first round. As much as I hate to say that, Giannis signed that big extension, but it's a team, you've seen it all year. It's a team that is a salary cap strap. So they couldn't even really bring in like even younger minimum pieces around that roster. They did a nice job with bringing some pieces in, but they're not a complete roster. Brook Lopez had the one magical year from 3-point land that first year he was with the Bucks and has been awful since. And, then we committed, after that year, we had him for like $3.5 million or whatever. And then we signed him like to a 3-year, $35 million contract, and he's done squat since.
Yep.
So
that sounds about right. He waited to get that money and then just disappeared. That's the story of every NBA franchise owner's life right there. Oh, hey, you're playing great. Here's 3 years and $30 million.
Dante DiVincenzo, I had great hope is developing into a really good shooting guard this year. That never really happened. But the biggest surprise on that team was how well Bobby Portis has actually played in Giannis's place when Giannis has been either injured and out or when Giannis was on the bench. So I would say the Milwaukee Bucks right now are probably the most overrated team in the Eastern Conference.
Well, mine, and I hate to say this because I am genuinely pulling for these guys. I would love to see them make some noise in the playoffs. And like I said, I hate to say it, but it is the New York Knicks. Like I said, I don't want to say it because I'm going to be the first person cheering for them, whoever they play, because I like Julius Randle. What he's done is awesome. The whole career turnaround he's had is great. Barrett's playing well. I mean, they are just like, they're not the Knicks. It's weird. They're not the team that we have known to see them pretty much ever since Patrick Ewing left. I mean, it's been a complete crap show for so long. And here we are, and it's finally, on the rise. And did you see the list that they released today? I'm not sure if it was Woj or who, but somebody at ESPN released that there's 3 big targets that they're going after, and it's Lonzo Ball. It's, of course, I'm going to forget him now. I know Lonzo Ball was one of them. I'll remember him later on. But still, if they can add to that team, this can be a really dangerous and potentially threatening team within the next couple of years. And like I said, I will be pulling for them, but I do have them as a little overrated, and I do hate to say that, but I got the Knicks in my overrated.
And if things stay as they are, they draw the Hawks in the first round, and that Hawks team that started off awful this year, like they were not good, bounced back and could make a little bit of noise as well in these playoffs. And they've got a young roster. They've got, Trae Young. They've got DeAndre Hunter. They've got John Collins. They've got Clint Capella. It's a roster that is built to last right now. And there again, they kind of had their coming out party a little bit last year and still missed the playoffs. And this year they started off terrible, and it's kind of like, this might be a team that never develops. And then this team caught fire. I think that's probably going to be the best series of the first round, is that Knicks and Hawks series.
Yeah, absolutely. So we spoke a little over, underrated. And speaking of over and under, when we come back right after this break, we will have a new segment called Over Under. Basically, to explain it real quick in a nutshell, I will give off scenarios. For example, it will be NFL on this edition. I will say the Green Bay Packers win 13.5 games, over under. And then Tori and me will both answer and explain why when we come back in 2 minutes. And welcome back to Man Hour. It is the Wyatt Williams and the Wisconsinite, Mr. Torrey Anderson, and we've got our new segment Over Under here. We're going NFL edition today, and we're doing wins. So I will give, for example, the first one will be Packers and 12.5, and Torrey will give us a Over Under, what he thinks, then I will, and we'll explain why, elaborate on a little bit, and yeah, let's do it. I picked one team from each division in the NFC and AFC and came up with my own numbers as well. These are not Vegas odds. These are my own numbers, by the way, for everybody listening. So don't go to Vegas expecting to see this format because this is the one that I just came up with today.
Yeah, so, I'd like to put that money that Wyatt Williams said, and it'll be like, who?
Exactly right.
Wyatt the Shark.
You can't do
Come
that,
on,
Drew.
man.
You can't do that, Drew. So first one, like I said, is our very own Torrey, Green Bay Packers at 12.5. Over under, sir.
Well, since we did the schedule breakdown last week and I picked them to win 13 games, I can't dog on myself, so I got to go over because I have them at 13-4 next year. I basically have them sweeping the division. Their out of division games, a lot of them aren't super tough, but I have them, I have 3 definite losses. Like I think the Chiefs is a definite loss because I do believe we're playing them at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And then I think I threw 1 or 2 in there that's like they're going to slip up. It's like they always have that one game where they're flat.
Right, like the Chargers 2 years ago. Like every year, the Bills, whenever we had that really good year, and Aaron Rodgers threw like 3 picks that one game, which was a really odd game. No, it wasn't 3 picks. It was his first pick he had thrown in like was it like 30 games, something like that? No, what 30? It was like I don't remember. It was like 20 games, something like that. It was like the first pick he had thrown in 20 games, something crazy. And we played the Bills, and he throws like 2 picks, something like that. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think there'll be a couple of dumb losses. So doing the math in my head here, we always split with the Vikings. I don't know why, but we always do. So I'll count that. I think we beat everybody else in the division twice. I think we beat the Bears twice. I think we beat the Lions twice. Beat the Vikings once. I think they split with us. We always do that no matter what their records are.
I got to look now because I know I had the Packers going 13-4.
Yeah, so then you tack on, we play them, I believe we take them the Arrowhead. Either way, I think we lose to the Chiefs. So I will go over as well. I'm going to say 13, right at where you're at.
I take that back. I had the Packers going 12-5. So I'm going to change my thing and go to under. I thought I had them at 13-4, but I had them at 12-5.
Wow.
So I'm going to take. I'm actually going to take the under.
Who's waffling now? Who's waffling now?
I that's why I screenshotted it.
No, we're about in the same boat. I like I said, we've talked about this a lot, Torrey. We talked about it pre-show, and there you go, 12-5. I love it. But we talked about it pre-show, and that's my big thing here is I believe that they're going to – I think Aaron Rodgers is going to stay. I mean, every day I become more and more optimistic about it, and more I see things that come out that seems like all this stuff was fake and all this stuff. Like, for example, that, Adam Schefter was finishing stories himself and all this stuff. Like, I don't know, it just all seems weird to me. And I trust Adam Schefter, I really do, but just it's all weird to me. It's all odd, so I just don't understand it. So I'm thinking Aaron's going to stay at this point. I'm confident with that. So I will say Aaron stays. It's a 13-4 year for me, so I will take the over on the Green Bay Packers. After that, we have the NFC East, and it will be the Dallas Cowboys. And their number, 9.5, over-under. I
will take the under there. I believe I have them winning the division, though, but I have them winning it, I believe, at 9-8. Now I got to double-check myself since I was wrong on my last one.
Right.
I take that back. I take that back. I have them at 8-9. So yeah, I'm still taking the under on them. And finishing in second place.
Who you got in first? Giants?
Washington.
Wow, okay. I've got them in first place in their division next year, and I will take the over. I think they finish at 10-7. I think this is a pretty average division, just like we saw last year. I think they do give it a step up, though. But I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I still think it's going to be the worst division in football.
The only pushover team left is the Eagles. The Giants are not going to be a bad team.
No,
the Washington
absolutely
football
not.
Team has a defense that's going to be dominant.
Yep.
And if Fitzmagic continues doing what Fitzmagic does, they're going to make a little bit of noise. So there's not really any pushover games in that division outside of the Philadelphia Eagles. Like that's almost pretty much 2 wins.
Yeah, but I still think, the division is historically always close. No matter what, it's always a tight race in that division, at least with 3 teams, at least with 3, and sometimes like we saw last year, 4. I mean, like Philly was the first team knocked out, but they weren't knocked out till they were 4-9-1 was whenever they finally got knocked out. I'm like, in other divisions, everybody would have been like, yeah, you were knocked out, like, whenever you only had 4 wins, man, and you had, 6
and don't
losses.
you remember when Buck said on air that the Eagles were going to win that division too? Like when they were like 4-6-1 on there or whatever, and Buck's like, they're going to come back and they're going to win. They're going to win out and win the division.
Right. So my next one for you, as I chose over, you chose under on that one, is the Arizona Cardinals. And the Arizona Cardinals at 11.5 over under, Tori.
I will take the over on that one. I have them at 12-5 currently. I think they make that next step forward this year. They were an 8-8 team last year. They were pretty much just along the board average. They did not impress me at all. The more I looked at their schedule, though, and the way I did it, and I was predicting their schedule, 12-5, I thought they would still be around 500, but their schedule is going to dictate to them the way it is. I actually have them and the Seahawks going 12-5, so I'm going to take the over on that one.
All right, I'm right around with you. But man, that's tough. That's tough because that division is so good. Honestly,
I will say, but the way I had it from doing the NFL stuff, and when we picked all the games, I have Arizona 12-5, Seattle at 12-5. I have the the Rams at 11-6, and the worst team in that division is the Niners at 8-9.
Yeah, I'm gonna have them. I'm gonna have them right under. I'm gonna have them at 11 wins. I'm gonna have them 11-6 on my book. Just because, yes, they're a really talented team, but we haven't seen how this team meshes. They got a lot of new additions. They've got a lot of questions, it seems like, at the running back position with, Chase Edmonds that's there. You've also just brought in James Conner. So I feel like there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered. Can James Conner still run like he did 2 years ago? He didn't do it last year, that's for sure.
But I think by Conner going to that backup role and splitting carries is going to do nothing but keep him healthy and make him a more effective running back.
Yeah, but that's if he goes to that backup spot, though. If Chase Edmonds is comfortable taking the one spot, which, he tried that twice last year and didn't really do anything whenever Kenyon Drake was out. All of his best games happened whenever Kenyon Drake was splitting time.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. If he's got James Conner there to split with, he's going to do great. I mean, because I will, like for fantasy football, I was starting Drake and Edmonds both in my backfield because when they were splitting, they did fantastic things. So, and a lot of that was, I think, Kyler Murray's reliancy on dumping it off to his running back. So,
yeah, so we both give our answer there. Next, we have got our final NFC team in this one, and it is going to be the Carolina Panthers. So the Carolina Panthers are, excuse me, my phone just shut off. Carolina Panthers, 7.5.
I'm going to take the over. I have them at 8-9. So I'm going to take the over on that one. I have them going 3-3 in the division. The Saints are going to be terrible this year. So
yes, they are, because Jameis Winston's going to be at the helm. You hear that, right. Combs? You heard me right.
So I actually have the Panthers finishing third in that division at 8-9. They're getting a healthy CMC back. They have Sam Darnold, who could potentially be their breakout candidate quarterback that they've been waiting for. There's a lot of weapons there. You have DJ Moore. You have Robbie Anderson. So the potential to have an explosive offense is there for them. So I think they're going to be a much improved team. I think Teddy Bridgewater did not get a fair shake with that team last year because it was so injured and banged up. The biggest question they're going to have on offense is who's going to back up CMC in case he goes down again.
Yeah, Mike Davis was a big loss. Mike Davis, I think last year single-handedly got himself a running back job with how great that he played.
I will say I picked him up off of waivers in fantasy
did.
football,
Oh,
and I
I
turned
did.
around. I turned around and cashed in and traded him and
Yep.
cashed in because I needed
the exact same thing.
I needed another receiver, and I cashed him in for I don't even remember who I traded for. But then I think that receiver ended up like going down with an injury like the next week. I was like,
Oh, what? That sounds about right. That sounds about like fantasy football. But at 7 wins, I am going to take the over on that one. I am going to stick them right at 9 wins. I'll have them at 9 and 8. I hate that. That sounds so uncomfortable. It should be 9 and 7. But anyways, I'll have them at 9 and 8 in that division that I think will actually be fairly easy to win this coming year for the first time in, forever, not win, excuse me, to come up in a second place spot, because the Buccaneers, I feel like, will be so much farther above everybody because Saints are going to have a down year. They just lost Drew Brees. The Falcons are going to have a down year because, well, they're the Atlanta Falcons. And then third, you've got the Panthers.
New regime in Atlanta, though. I actually have Atlanta going 11 and 6.
What?
Look at they signed Mike Davis to be their running back. The weapons that they have on that offense, with now adding Kyle Pitts in there, with a defense that's been rebuilt. Mark my words, Atlanta will make the playoffs.
Tori, if you're right, I'll be the first person to call myself wrong, and you're right. I will give you that. But with that being said, I was going to kick it to break, or I'm going to. I was going to kick it to break and finish out this over-under segment or tomorrow, but it's going really well. So we will just go to break. We'll come back and do it instead of what we had planned for after. And we'll bring that after to the shop talk. So we got ourselves there. But with that being said, we'll go to break. We'll be right back to give our AFC edition of Over Under in 2 minutes.
What is your name?
What?
What is your name?
Buck.
Where did you get that shirt?
It's funny that you should ask that. Head over to manhourradio.com. You can pick up the shirt up. $15.
And welcome back to Man Hour. We are going to finish out our over-under series here with the AFC. And getting us started off, AFC North. So we're going to jump right in. AFC North, I chose the Bengals. And I have the numbers set here at 8.5.
I just want to go back and watch the Buck commercial again like 17 more times.
All right, hold on. You give me 1 second.
What is your name?
What?
What is your name?
Buck.
Where did you get that shirt?
It's funny that you should ask that. Head over to manhourradio.com. You can pick up the shirt up. $15.
I love that you can hear River talking in the background the whole time and then the dog's there. And just, it's perfect.
It is absolutely perfect.
It is amazing. It is. I mean, I told him earlier whenever he showed it to us, I was like, we have all got to make one like that. Like our commercials have got to have us being goofy and I'm like that. Like it is perfect. It's what man hour commercials have got to be like. But anyways, talking about over under here, gosh, getting off track. The Bengals, I have them set at 8.5. Tori, you first, sir. Over under 8.5.
Mike Buck for the win. So I gotta take a look. So I am taking the under on that. This is a team that's a year away yet. So as to not reveal my breakdown of their schedule yet, they I have the under on that one. I think this is a team that's a year away. I really love the young talent on this team. I love everything that they're doing. They're doing this the right way. They're building something special in Cincinnati. So I think with that being said, they are a year away. Next year, they're going to be the ones kind of making a little bit of noise. They're not going to be like world beaters, but they'll probably be a 9 or a 10 win team next year. But this year, no, it won't be that way. It's going to be another struggle, another top 10 pick this year for the Bengals.
So yeah, I think the same way. I think they're just a year away. I agree with you 100%, and I think they're just under it at 6. I think they'll have 6 wins on the year. Which now I'm used to saying 6 and 10, but now it's 6 and 11, which is just like I said, just uncomfortable. I don't like it. But you know what?
You'll get used to it. Just like when teams played a 14 game schedule and then it went to 16.
Exactly. I'll get used to it. We this too shall pass. But anyways, I will go with the 6 and 11. I will go under. I do think they're picking in the top 10 again, and by God, I hope and pray that they get Joe Burrow some protection in this next draft. And I hope it doesn't cost him another ACL in the process, because I love Joe Burrow. I am pulling for Joe Burrow. But if they don't protect Joe Burrow, then Joe Burrow's not going to be Joe Burrow. So
what is it with the
Joe
Bengals
Burrow
getting good quarterbacks and then their ACL getting blown out? I mean, it happened to Carson Palmer. It happened to Joe Burrow.
They don't protect them. It's exactly what it is. It's just they just don't.
Is Joe Burrow going to demand a trade out of Cincinnati like Carson Palmer did?
He's connecting the dots and said he's like, like the guy that was a high prospect before me that was here left on the torn ACL. Excuse me, agent. I need to get out of Cincinnati immediately. I am putting my house for sale.
We need to call for a trade now.
Oh my God! He immediately calls his realtor.
Both number 1 overall picks.
Yeah.
Both Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks. Both tore their ACL.
Yep.
This is lining up for him to ask for a trade.
It's like I think I've seen this movie before. I've read this book before. I just can't put my finger on it. But no, that is our Bengals next, and this is the exciting one because this quarterback for this team, I'm sorry to say, I think is my MVP favorite for next year, and that is the Buffalo Bills. I have them at 13.5 on the over-under scale. Tori, what do you have them at? Over-under 13.5.
I think I got them just under. I think I have them at 13-4. But, yeah, I think that this is a good team. But that AFC is so tough that it's going to be impossible to be a 14 or a 15-win team, I think. For any team, I don't care which team you are in the AFC, that it's going to be tough to hit that 14 or 15 win mark. So I have them just under, I do believe, at 13 wins. And I think that they should probably be the AFC favorites behind the Kansas City Chiefs. So,
see, and I think that they will be a AFC favorite, but I think they'll be record-wise. I think they'll be the top team in the AFC. I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl this year because they're the Bills and they can't win a Super Bowl. We've seen that plenty of times. But the Buffalo Bills, I will have them at over. I will give them the benefit of the doubt.
How old were you when they last went to the Super Bowl?
I don't know. What year was it? I was born in
it was 1994.
Oh, so I wasn't even alive.
You weren't even alive the last time they were in a Super Bowl.
But, of course, they did go all those times and never did win.
Four times in a row.
Poor Jim Kelly couldn't do anything with it. But nonetheless, I have them at over. I've got them at 14-3 on the year, which is wild to say the Buffalo Bills are 14-3. Never thought in my lifetime we would say that. But, hey, here we are. Once again, we're in weird times, and the Buffalo Bills are a good team now. So 14-3 is where I got them. I got them over on the over under. So next we have the Raiders. This is an interesting one. Terrible draft. Worst draft I think I've ever seen because all they do is reach for Clemson and Alabama players. But we know this. We've had this argument. I'm not going to get heated. We're going to leave it right there. Raiders, 8.5. Tori, take it away.
Raiders 8.5.
Over under.
I will take the under on that one because of their coach and their GM and their terrible draft.
You don't like John Gruden. You don't like John.
Their inability to do anything correctly is astounding. So I will take the under all day long just because, Gruden has so much hype. What'd they give him? Like a 10-year,
100
million?
Crazy.
He's not worth that. He'd been out of the coaching game for what? Like 10 to 15 years that he'd been out?
No, let me tell you something. Here's the best thing he ever did, first off. The best thing that he ever did was meet Tony Dungy because Tony Dungy had a backpack with a carrier on it. And it's where John Gruden used to sit because Tony Dungy carried him to a Super Bowl. It literally,
you can't really say that, though, because the team that he had built that first time with the Raiders went to the Super Bowl against those Buccaneers. It was a squad that he had built. He is basically coaching against his old team. As much as people want to say that one, I disagree with it because he had built a really good roster, actually, with the Raiders.
Hey, I'm saying it because after Dungy left, they fell apart and they became the Buccaneers. That's my argument for it. Right after Dungy left,
they did. They won a Super Bowl the following year.
Huh? They did not.
When Dungy left,
they won one with Dungy, then they lost, and then they didn't win a Super Bowl. Ever since.
No, Gruden won that Super Bowl for Tampa Bay.
He did not.
Yes, he did.
He did?
Dungy won one with the Colts, not with the Buccaneers. Gruden won that title with the Buccaneers.
I am finding this right now.
And then you can tell me how right I am.
You are right. I thought that the 2003 Super Bowl they had was one with Dungy.
Nope.
So I absolutely stand corrected on that because Dungy has one Super Bowl, which came in Indianapolis with Peyton Manning. But nonetheless, I digress on that. But anyways, I am going to take the under as well. I've got him at 8, and see, now it's all weird. I got to do the math in my head. 8 and 9. Yeah, 8 and 9. So, yeah, I wasn't impressed with the draft. Wasn't impressed with the free agency. Not impressed with the coach. Not impressed with the Raiders. Not impressed with the Raiders at all. And they will continue to be the Raiders until they stop asking for Clemson and Alabama players with their first pick and reaching way higher for third rounders in the first round. So moving on now, speaking of Tony Dungy, we move on to the Colts here in the AFC South, our final team in our over-under segment, and the Colts are set at 12.5.
I am not that high on the Colts.
What?
I can tell you that.
We're going to disagree heavily on this segment.
So I do have the Colts winning that division.
Yeah.
So, but I do have them under. I have that as probably one of the worst divisions in all of football. So, yeah,
what?
I have the Colts winning that division at 9-8.
I have not done this. This is all off the top of my head. None of this is actually like research based. This is just me spitballing here. I've got the Colts winning it at. Of course, I'm going to take the over, which I'll explain here in a second. I've got them at around 13 wins. After that, I've got the Titans at around 11 or 10, somewhere in there. Then after that, I've got the Jaguars at 7 wins, and then I've got the Texans at 4 wins. So that's kind of my spread across the division because I feel like the Jaguars made a lot of good moves and are going to.
I feel like they did too, but they're young. They are very, very young.
They are. But I think they can punch out 7. I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think they can at least get 7.
The second place team I have punching out 7 wins, and that's the Titans. I think the Titans are going to regress this year.
Really?
I do. And I have I had the Jaguars going 3-14 and the Texans going 2-15.
So they're picking 1 and 2 pretty much in the draft. They're both top 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle for the number 1 overall pick again between Jacksonville, Houston, and Philadelphia.
Wow. So you're really low on Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty low on them too. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I'm like number 1 overall pick low, but I don't know. There's a lot of needs that need to be met, but I will say Devonta Smith was a very good pickup for them in the draft. I think he's a really good playmaker that will make a difference in the franchise.
That's great if you got somebody that can get him the ball.
That's true. Jalen Hurts might run it to him and hand it to him.
Yeah. Again,
but no.
Former quarterback receiver combo though.
I like it. But anyways, the Colts. Speaking of Philadelphia people, Carson Wentz is going to ball out there next year, and I've got him at 13 wins. I've got him taking the over here, 13-4 on the year. I think they're going to be a top 3, top 4 team in the AFC. They're going to have a shot at the Super Bowl. Carson Wentz is going to jump right back into MVP form. He's going to play great. He excels with Frank Reich. We've seen that. Frank Reich, the last time we saw Frank Reich with Carson Wentz, the Eagles were playing in a Super Bowl. Carson Wentz had a torn ACL and was still an MVP candidate. So give me the Colts on the over with 13 wins, and we'll close it off with that. Any final thoughts before we head to our break?
No way that the Colts hit that over. None.
What'd you say you have, Matt?
9-8. Look at their schedule once. I have them going 5. I have them going 5-1 in the division, with splitting basically with the Titans.
9-8. That's low.
I'm telling you, their schedule is not favorable.
Jeez. All right. Well, that is how we will close off. We will head to break, and when we return, we've got some more awesome, and I do mean awesome, man-hour radio action for you with Wyatt Williams and Torrey Anderson, the Wisconsinite. We'll see you back in 2, baby. And welcome back to Man Hour. Man, Tori, I just watched the funniest TikTok I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like, I just sent it to our group chat or whatever, and it's this guy. And he's like, signs that your roommate is a serial killer. And he's like talking, and like he looks over and his roommate's like microwaving cereal. Then he's like showering in the dark. And then like he walks in on him, and there's a guy over in the corner like tied up with a cloth in his mouth, and he's going, help me, help and then it flips to the next segment, and it's like he's sitting there watching the news, and it's like this person was found, killing 20 people, and then it flips to his roommate on camera, and he's like, I cannot even believe I used the same toilet as this guy. I mean, I had no clue. There were no red flags. God, I cannot even.
You kids in your Tic Tac.
Exactly, us kids in our Tic Tac. But anyways, we're gonna talk some NFL here before we get into shop talk here in a little bit. It's actually crazy to say this right now. So I'm riding around today and getting some segments together for the show tonight because I knew Combs and Buck weren't gonna be on, and me and you were on here tonight. So coming up with the show rundown and everything, and I'm sitting there looking over topics like what should I throw here, what should I throw there. And something came to me, and it was that
I am God.
Yeah. It was actually crazy. The only quarterback in the NFC North right now that has a stable situation for this season coming, the only guarantee starter week 1 is Kirk Cousins. There are questions around every other quarterback, whether if Justin Fields or Andy Dalton is going to start, what will happen? What will happen in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers? I think he stays. A lot of people are speculating he won't. Combs, of course. It's mostly Bears fans.
That's just
then you look at Detroit,
him hoping that Rodgers is gone.
Yeah, well, then you look at Detroit, and they've got Goff, which is a bunch of question marks surrounding that. Does he have a receiver? All that good stuff. We don't know what's going to happen there. But then you look at Minnesota, and there's a clear-cut number 1. We all know Kirk is going to be the guy.
Who's going to start in Detroit besides Goff?
I don't know. It depends
Nobody.
on if he throws 4 interceptions in a game, they might put somebody else in.
You do not trade your franchise quarterback for another quarterback without giving him 1 year to figure out whether or not he is going to be a good quarterback or not.
Oh, they're going to give him a year, but I'm just saying if he gets 3 or 4 weeks in, and this guy is averaging 3 picks a game, which I think is highly
it's not
likely.
Gonna matter. They don't have anybody behind him, and you got Dawn checking and saying that's because she's a Sparty fan. She's originally from Wisconsin, and she's a Sparty fan. We don't like Sparty.
But I just thought that was ironic. And even if you do count Jared Goff in, if I would have told you a year ago that the 2 guarantee at quarterback people in the NFC North coming up were going to be Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins, you would have looked at me like I was nuts.
Potentially, because you could kind of see the error. Like this is after the draft last year, and I could be like, yeah, I 110% see that the quarterback situation in Green Bay could be unsettled because Rodgers is probably pissed off. Same thing with the Chicago. Chicago, it's like, really, you already kind of know Mitchell Trubisky's not your answer. So
Sure, but like between him and Andy Dalton, I was just startled at that today. Like I was just sitting there thinking, and it hit me, and I was just like, wow, like I cannot believe these guys are on like this. It was just crazy to me.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's not an entirely unpredicted situation. I'm not even sure Kirk Cousins on solid ground, being in the last year of his deal. And they picked up Kellen Mond. And they picked him up relatively early. So
it's 3rd round early though.
For them,
that's a late day 2 guy.
Yeah, but if you have guaranteed money on your quarterback, that's not a real big vote of confidence. And there again, I think they got a value pick when they got Kellen Mond at. So,
oh, definitely. I think that Stills was the same way out of Stanford. So I think there were a couple of quarterback options that got away. I think Indianapolis got a nice option with Ellinger with as late as they got him. Do I think he'll start? No, I don't think he'll see the field especially not this year. I think it's going to be a little bit before if we ever see him. But there were a couple of quarterbacks that fell later. But speaking of free agency and draft have now gone by in a flash, by the way, which was fast. I mean, draft came and went in a flash, speed, boom. So I ask you this: after all that, after you saw the free agency and the draft, where teams address all of their biggest needs. These are the places where teams get better, right? Which team wins the Super Bowl after what you've seen?
Oh. So who's going to be my preseason Super Bowl way too early pick?
Yeah, like we're still going to make our selections as time goes on. We're still doing our playoff predictors and all that stuff. But now while we're just spitballing, we've seen the draft go by. We've seen the free agency go by. Who is your favorite at this moment because of what you've seen in the draft and the free agency because of that?
According to Ric Flair, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. So until they get knocked off the mountain, give me Tampa Bay then. Tampa Bay's bringing back all 22 starters. So
first time it has ever happened. There has never been in Super Bowl era a team bring back everyone, and I agree with you 100% on that. They've got to be my favorites right now because, I mean, they brought back everyone. This team just did it. Why can they not do it again? And like I said, all signs show me yes. Two things, biggest things. First off, this is the first team to ever bring back everyone in the Super Bowl era. That's the first sign. Second sign, you've got Tom freaking Brady at the helm. You can't go wrong if you have Tom Brady. If you have Tom Brady and you make the playoffs, you're a contender. You're going to be a contender. You're going to make it work. If you have got Tom Brady at the helm, things will work out just fine. As Buck just chimed in, I didn't hear what Buck said. I didn't even hear what he said. What did he say?
He said Patrick Mahomes, that is all.
Of course. Everybody drink. Buck chimed in.
I think my coffee's out.
I just have water. I'm not drinking anything crazy. But so I agree with you 100% there. I got Tampa Bay. But after the free agency and draft, not talking Super Bowl here, which team is most improved?
Of the playoff teams or overall?
Of everyone. Which team is most improved after free agency and draft? Not talking Super Bowl here. Not talking playoffs, nothing. Just the most simply the most improved team of all.
It's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Rams. Based off of the quarterback situation alone. That is a potent offense with Jared. When it had Jared Goff, it has a top 10 defense. Just them literally changing quarterbacks make this as a team to be a legitimate threat in the not only in the NFC West, but in the NFL and in the NFC to win it all. I think that they are probably one of your top contenders right now. Like I said, I have that division. That division's going to be tight knit, and I think they're going to run roughshod on their out of division opponents because it's like I said, I got two teams going 12-5. I got the Rams going 11-6. The worst team there I got is the Niners at 8-9.
Yeah, and I'm going to go in a different direction as you because normally, I mean, everybody can make improvements on their team with a first-round pick. That is for certain. But to make the improvements that this team did with where they were in the draft at every moment was simply incredible to me. And they had the best draft in the entire NFL, in my opinion, and I don't think it was close. I think that they won it by a landslide, and that is the Cleveland Browns. With what they did with their picks, at where their picks were, and who they got at where they were picking, was awesome to see. It was crazy to see. They improved so much on a team that was already a Super Bowl contender, already a playoff contender, already a team that is, in my opinion, a guarantee, just as long as, nothing crazy injury-wise happens. This is a guaranteed playoff team, in my opinion, the Cleveland Browns. And then I think that they're a Super Bowl contender now. And especially after this draft, especially in the next coming years, they're young. They're exciting. They win games. They're in a division that is digressing, in a sense, around them. They're in a division with, the Steelers who have dominated for so long. And finally now we're kind of seeing, I'm not saying we're seeing the end of that, but we are kind of, in a way, seeing the end of the dominating era of the Steelers over this division, because for so long it was the Steelers, and then every 3 or 4 years the Ravens would give them a good run for their money, and then the Bengals and the Browns were just trash every year. There was always a running joke that
so it's like the Lions and the Bears.
Exactly.
They're just trash.
There was always a running joke that the Steelers had 5 bye weeks every year. You know what those 5 bye weeks were? Their actual bye week, and the 2 times they played Cincinnati, and the 2 times they played Cleveland. That was their bye weeks, always. It was always the running joke. So not only are they getting better in a division that is getting better around them, and the better teams are getting a little worse, and it's kind of leveling the playing field in a sense. Not only are they doing that, but they're getting great players along with it. Greg Newsome, a huge sleeper out of the first round that nobody was, had their big radars on. Owusu Koromoa, a second-round guy that should have been a top 15 guy in my opinion. A guy who's going to be an instant impact day one, and just as long as injuries don't slow his career down, he is going to be a great NFL player. Really excited to see how he develops and what he does over time. And then you look further in the draft, they just made a lot of good moves everywhere. Everywhere they went, they made good moves. I think Odell comes back next year, and I think Odell matures. It's crazy to say that because you wouldn't think so, but I also didn't think that Baker Mayfield would mature. I thought that Baker Mayfield's ultimate kryptonite throughout his entire career would always be stemming around the fact that he is not mature. And he completely changed that. I have always loved Baker Mayfield. I will continue to love Baker Mayfield because of this. I mean, he is making leaps and bounds and strides to become a more mature and a better quarterback every day that he is on the football field, and he does a great job of it. And I think that Odell Beckham Jr. sees that, and Odell becomes a more mature person because of that, and a more mature football player, and advances with Baker. I think Baker makes everybody else around him better. That's why, like I've said it many times on the show, I think he's a top 5, maybe even top 3 quarterback this year with his play. I think he'll be an MVP candidate. I think his team is a top 5 team and a Super Bowl contender this year. They're a playoff guarantee, in my opinion, as I mentioned earlier. So the biggest one for me is definitely the Cleveland Browns after we saw what they did in the draft. It was spectacular. They had the best draft by far.
I would agree that they had a great draft. But that AFC, like I said, that AFC is so tough.
It's going to be tough.
To come out of that AFC is going to be that is a gauntlet to try to run through in the playoffs. That is that will be a big no, Buck.
There you go.
That's going to be a
negative.
That will be a negative Ghost Rider. The pattern is full. I have to go back into the office here in the next couple of months. So if I was still working from home, like maybe I would do it, but I'm going to have to go back to forward facing 2 people. So I will not be able to do that.
Yeah, that's what
I'm sorry, Buck.
I will not be.
I can't do that.
No, cannot. But we talked sleeper teams earlier. Actually, I take it back. I'm asking you a different question. We talked most improved. How about team that got worse through this offseason so far?
The Jets. The Jets are just a terrible organization.
They got better. Zach Wilson
They did
is going
not.
to be good.
Zach Wilson is trash.
Oh.
Mark my words. Zach Wilson is trash. He will be a bust. Zach Wilson is not going to be a good NFL quarterback.
No,
yes.
Nothing tells me that. The film tells me this kid is going to be good. I'm telling you, go watch the film. I don't care if he's playing in backyard football. He is making good throws. He is keeping the ball where only his receiver can get it. He is a smart, educated football mind.
Against other mid-major players.
But he's throwing to mid-major players. He's playing with mid-majors.
He is going to be a flop in the pros. The game is going to be, and this is my biggest thing, the game's going to be too fast for him. That's going to be the number one thing. The number 2 thing is he's stuck playing with the Jets, who will absolutely botch anything that they need to do to help him.
Unlike Trevor Lawrence, and I'm not knocking on Trevor Lawrence at all when I say this, because I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a good NFL quarterback. Unlike Trevor Lawrence, this kid has lost before. And I think that's going to be the clear separation between Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. How will Trevor Lawrence react to losing? Because he's a winner. He is a purebred winner. He does an incredible job of winning. That is why I like Trevor Lawrence so much, because he reminds me of somebody else in the league, and that is Tom Brady. Tom Brady wins. It's that simple. It is that simple. There isn't a rhyme or reason behind it. It's not because he has the strongest arm. It's not because he's the most accurate passer. It's not because he runs faster than other quarterbacks. I don't know what it is. His DNA is W-I-N. Win. Win at all costs. You win. Win the game. Win Super Bowls. And Trevor Lawrence wins. He's a winning kid. But he's not going to a good franchise. So, in the meantime, how does he react to losing? I think that is a big part of what we'll see with Trevor Lawrence. The kid has never lost a regular season game in his life. He has never lost a single regular season game in his entire life of playing football. That is insane. That is a stat that shouldn't exist. There should be no high school stat that exists like that. You're telling me you went undefeated all 4 years and won 4 state titles in Georgia too? He played in Georgia. It's not like he's playing in Idaho or he's playing in, some random Wyoming, Montana, where,
Indiana.
There's some good teams in Indiana. I wouldn't sleep on Indiana. Not as good as Georgia, but hey, Center Grove was ranked top 25 this year. All right, Westfield was real good. Okay, what's his face was ranked?
All right, you're getting off topic here.
Exactly. But he played in Georgia too. He played with good talent around him. So the kid is crafted to win. He's going to win. How will he handle losing? I think that's the big separation between him and Zach Wilson. So that'll be the big thing for me. That's why I think Zach Wilson will have it a little easier with the transition because he has lost before. So
what's Zach Wilson going to do when he starts losing? Daddy, I'm losing. I'm going to have you to fall back on. Rich kid syndrome.
Question for you about Zach Wilson. Okay.
Trash.
Did Daddy's money ever throw one ball?
Did Daddy's money get him where he was? Probably.
Well, no. He's talented. It's not like he went to BYU and didn't start. I mean, this kid was
okay. But Buck played at Kansas State and played linebacker, was a starter.
Did Buck get drafted number 2 overall? NFL scouts clearly see something in this kid. Daddy's money did not get him to the New York Jets.
Do you realize how much money actually talks when it comes to the draft process?
I'm sure there's a lot of money talked, but
I'm
sure
is.
Daddy didn't
a lot
pay.
of money gets tossed around because agents want to get their player bumped up. And the thing is they get if they put enough money forward, they get that name out there, they get that star rising, stuff like that. And like that happens. Like as well as I do. 6 months ago, nobody was talking about Zach Wilson being a first round pick. Then all of a sudden it started creep. Well, he could probably creep in late first round. Well, maybe a mid to late first round.
You know why? You know why? I'll tell you why. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with people watched his tape. People saw that this kid can play football. People don't watch BYU games. Of course, 6 months ago, people were like, Zach Wilson, who? A second round pick, a late first round pick. Of course. But then people are like, oh, this kid's projected to go in the first round. I'm going to watch some of his film. Then they watch their film and they're like, dang, this kid's like, he's good. Like, he's good. Like, he's got it. And he does. He's got it. If you watch the film, the kid has got it. He's got it. I don't know what it is, but he's got it.
For it's like I said, for enough money, you can make anybody. Why we could get you drafted in the first round for enough money.
Well, I mean, I did start over Zen, but I digress on that. So I am also a former professional world champion kickball player, but that's beside the point as well. But anyways, all right, our final question here before we head to shop talk: biggest sleeper heading into this season. Talked sleeper earlier with the NBA. Who is your biggest sleeper heading into the NFL season? Here in a couple. I
got to stick with my pick because I've already been pounding that table for the last couple of months. Is the Atlanta Falcons? The Atlanta Falcons will make the playoffs this year. You asked, and I'm being 100.
Tori, we don't have these moments, okay? We are Packers fans. We stick together. You see that G right there? It stands for greatness. All right, we stick together through greatness crafted by our Green Bay Packers. Okay, we don't do this. This is not part of what we do as Packers fans. Is tell terrible teams that they're gonna make the. What are
why? Wyatt, you weren't alive during the 70s and the 80s when the Packers were awful. They were the laughing stock of the NFL. That was like nobody players would get it written into their contracts that they would have a no trade clause to Green Bay, specifically to Green Bay. That'd be the only team that they would not allow a trade to.
See, and that is unfortunate. But if you look at all time, the Packers are one of the top franchises ever, if not the top. But
I would say we are the top. If we are top world championship wise. We are the top. We have 13 world titles. But people seem to forget that there was titles before Super Bowls. So people like to throw that Super Bowl title out there a whole lot.
Well, I also think that there's just like a certain era that like we just kind of cut off. You know what I mean? Like I feel like in sports a lot of people do that. Like for example, Wilt Chamberlain is extremely overrated in my opinion because
let's talk about that one quick. Did I screenshot that one? I don't think I did. But the year that he won an MVP when he averaged 50 points.
Yep.
25 rebounds.
Incredible.
So Bill Russell averaged like 18 points and like 35 rebounds. Yep. Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double, the first time in NBA history it had ever happened. And who won the MVP? Wilt.
Yep. That's great. He won an MVP. How many rings by himself did he win against Bill?
How many rings does he have?
2.
Does it matter?
Where he was carried.
But
do you realize if he won?
But if you look at things in that light, you are talking about like most modern day NFL teams. Guys that were not, big names are getting signed to bigger contracts by other teams because they were a quote unquote Super Bowl champion. So a perfect example of that. And Adam Timmerman from the Packers, when they won the Super Bowl in '96, left like a year later to go sign with the Rams because he was a quote-unquote Super Bowl champion and a leader for that offense. He was a pretty good guard, but he wasn't a household name guard.
Sure.
And he was a guard. He became the highest paid guard in the league.
Wilt Chamberlain is loved and overrated because of his stories. I can name you 3 centers, maybe 4, probably 4, right now that are better than Wilt Chamberlain.
No, you can't.
Kareem, Shaq. Shaq's the greatest center of all time, in my opinion.
No, Kareem's greatest.
And Kareem, I think it's close between Shaq and Kareem, in my opinion. Then Bill. Bill is definitely better than Wilt. And I think it's a tie between Hakeem and Wilt. It's a tough throw up for me. If I had to choose, gun to my head, I would probably take Wilt. I would take Wilt there, but it would be tough. But he's at least not better than Bill. Bill was his daddy for 11 titles. I mean, he couldn't do anything against Bill. Bill legitimately owned him every day, not 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. I mean, absolutely annihilated him. It was not even fair what Bill Russell did to the league at that point. So I think Bill, in a sense, at that time, with all the championships he had, now, I know he had great teammates and all this stuff, but still, 11 titles is incredible. So, I think we at least have to have Bill over him.
No,
that is my opinion.
Otherwise, I'm going to tear you apart. Go to break. I'm going to go Combs on you.
We're going Combs on it. All right, so we will head to break. And with that being said, be sure to comment whatever you want to talk about. Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan being second place on the GOAT status, LeBron being one, whatever you wanted to talk about. Be sure to comment that down below because we have Shop Talk coming up after this. And I have a scheduled breaks here, but you know what? I enjoyed that Buck break so much, and I'm sure everybody watching enjoyed it so much that I will not be going to our other break that looks like this. See, I'm not gonna go to that one. I'm going to go to this one that everybody loved and I love because it is hilarious. So without further ado, we will be right back with Shop Talk. And here we go. Everybody get your popcorn. It's on.
What is your name?
What?
What is your name?
Buck.
Where did you get that shirt?
It's funny that you should ask that. Head over to manhourradio.com. You can pick up the shirt up. $15.
There you see it, the beautiful, beautiful essence of what that is. I don't even know what to call that, but it was purely amazing. Okay, I absolutely love it, Tori. Don't you?
I just keep thinking he's gonna walk up and be like, "Shake and bake, shake and bake,
shake and bake, baby."
See what I just did there?
I can't even. I don't even know what I would do if he walked up to the camera and goes, "Shake and bake, shake it before you bake." Oh my gosh, that would be absolutely amazing. But hey, before we get into this, we are doing shop talk right now, and we are talking whatever you want to talk about. Here we go. We got Drew says Wyatt has been hanging around the Rainbow Bright, riding unicorns and farting rainbows again. I'm guessing that is along my comments of Wilt. If I had to guess, that's probably what that is.
I mean, Drew, you're probably right on that one. I'm going to agree. Hashtag facts.
I don't understand the hype. I think he's way overhyped. I think he played in a league with, I'll at least give Jordan that he played in the 90s, but
and the 80s.
Wilt, well, yeah, but his prime was the 90s. I mean, I know he got drafted in 84, right? 85?
Yeah, 84.
84, but his prime hit right in the, I mean, his prime was the 90s. The 90s was Michael Jordan. I mean, so I'll at least give MJ that, but I mean, I just Wilt played in an era where, and we put all a bias aside. Wilt, in my opinion, Wilt played in an era where, athletes were nowhere near what they were at this time. And even 20 years ago.
You're comparing apples to oranges because it's different eras. If you put any of those athletes in that era, Steph Curry would be trash. If you put Steph Curry there, because
Steph Curry would be incredible.
Steph Curry would be on his ass every time he went down or he had the
ball.
Because he would get body checked. Steph Curry would be trash. You know who Steph Curry would be? Steph Curry would be Del Curry. He'd be a guy coming off the bench that's a 3-point specialist if he played in the 80s. He would not be a superstar.
The greatest shooter of all time. Greatest shooter of all time. He would just put it up in the air before they could even get hold of him.
No.
What?
You can't hand check anymore. You can't hip check anymore.
Hand checking does not work. Hand checking is stupid.
The thing
is a horrible defensive philosophy.
There's so many different things.
I hate the hand checking argument
today.
Look, watch. If I have my hand out, okay? You see this on the screen, okay? Look at my backside here, okay? If you move my hand here, you're behind me already. You're gone. There's nothing I can do now. You've beat me. I hate hand check. Hand checking makes you worse. Hand checking should have been out of the league because defenses needed it to be out of the league. Because if my hand's here and you push it this way, you are behind me. What am I going to do if you're back here taking a shot or driving? There is nothing that I can do.
Steph Curry would not be a good player.
I'm
in that
telling
era.
you, he would and fleece it. He would fleece it every time.
No, because 3-point shooter, the emphasis wasn't on 3-point shooting.
He could drive too.
Every team had a special, and he would have got destroyed in the lane.
He still could have taken free throws, and he's one of the greatest free throw shooters.
They wouldn't have called the foul.
They would have. They didn't just let them pull out Glocks and shoot each other in the lane. I mean, they called
damn near.
They called,
but that's where I talk. But that's where I'm talking about. That's where the hip checking came in. Like if you went to drive the lane, they would pink and you drop the ball.
See, they were rough, but they still did call fouls. But you just had to earn that foul. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And
if you cried like LeBron cries, you wouldn't get the calls. They would call everything on you then. We lost Wyatt. I'm scared. See, even the internet did not like Wyatt's take on that one because Steph Curry would have gotten just absolutely destroyed with his size trying to go to the lane if he'd have played in like the 80s. It was a completely different game, and that's why I really hate the era arguments when it comes to the different things like that. It's not a good thing to compare because again, the athletes weren't doing this, this, and this. Well, if you were an athlete from this era in that era, you probably weren't doing those things either. So it doesn't even make it a relevant argument. Wilt Chamberlain in today's game would probably be just as dominant, if not more dominant. It's just the way that one would be. So, do you guys have any other questions you guys want to talk? Because it is just me apparently. Because apparently I'm just going to go with my personal opinion on this. That I got Wyatt so upset that he quit the show. So, I think Wyatt just messaged us. So, trying to see where we went. Oh, so yeah, his take was so bad that his computer just completely shut off on him. So with that, I don't even know if I have the outro stuff. Mike, you might have to chime in here and let me know if I have the stuff. So I do not have it. I have everything but anyways, with that, we are going to end it for the night. So, there's Buck. I don't have the outro, so all right. Buck, are you there?